On today's episode of the Ango Show, we're going to take a look at a very big story surrounding TNA potentially signing a former WWE star. Also, in addition to that, we have a massive update on a former WWE star who signed with AEW but has been sidelined for a very long time. And yes, we are going to talk about the infamous story of WWE asking their fans not to swear at events. We spoke about it earlier in the week, but now there's been a major update, and it's all coming up right here on the Ango Show. If you guys want more videos like this, don't forget to click that subscribe button. Trust me, you're never going to want to miss a video on this channel. I want to kick things off with WWE NXT because I thought this was a very, very dumb idea to initially begin with. However, Sean Ross Sapp had actually dropped a major update. If you guys don't know about the story that I'm talking about, over the last weekend, there was a story from Dave Meltzer and Brian Alvarez that essentially WWE was asking WWE fans to stop swearing at their events. Now, a lot of people didn't know if this was actually true, if WWE was actually doing this, and I had even said in that video that I just think it's a terrible idea because people are paying their hard-earned money to go to an event. I don't think it's really necessarily fair to control them in that regard. Like, as long as they're not causing harm to people, if they're not, if there's no hateful language or violent language, like, it's probably not that big of a deal. And of course, a lot of people didn't know if this was actually real or not. It turns out that Fightful Select has actually reported that there was talk of WWE asking fans not to swear at events over the weekend. However, this is something that WWE is doing currently in WWE NXT at the Performance Center. Basically, those who have continued swearing have been warned with possible removal from television tapings, and Fightful Select also said, for what it's worth, they haven't heard of any incident that went past a warning. So not only was this something that was being talked about as, hey, this could be happening in the future, it's actually something that's been happening, and I don't like it, to be honest with you. I think when people are spending their hard-earned money to go to an event, I don't think they should necessarily be controlled. Now, that's the kicker here, because I said if people are paying their hard-earned money to go to an event, then I don't think WWE should be able to say, no, you can't swear, right? Of course, you're going to hear the holy shit chants and things of that nature. But at the Performance Center, it's actually a little bit different because people don't pay for tickets to go to the Performance Center. From my understanding, the way that it's been for a very long time at the WWE PC when going to an NXT show is that you basically fill out a form or request a free ticket, and then they allow X amount of people in for free. Now, because of the nature of it being free, I actually understand WWE saying, hey, we don't want you guys to swear, right? It's at the Performance Center. It's on the CW network. We're allowing you in for free to be at a television taping. We have some rules you got to follow. And in that nature, I think it's fair. But the idea that if you go to Raw, SmackDown, a pay-per-view, and you're spending hundreds of dollars on a ticket and you want to chant, holy shit, I don't think that should be a big deal. All right, that brings us to our next topic, ladies and gentlemen. Keith Lee. What is going on with Keith Lee? We got a major update on Keith Lee, and it came from himself on social media. Somebody had tweeted out at Keith Lee that they were hoping that he was okay and doing well, and they would like to see him back and returning soon. It goes on to say a bunch of other stuff. Keith Lee has responded, and Keith Lee says, "You have my appreciation. I am quite well. Only time will tell when or where, but I am confident that time will come. Have patience, my friend. Lead with love. Be well." Now, it has been a long time since we have seen Keith Lee. The last time we've actually seen Keith Lee in AEW in the ring was World's End. Actually, I think that's a lie. I want to say December 2023. So I don't know if that was World's End, but it's been almost 2 years fully since we have seen him, and nobody actually knows what the hell is going on with him. And this is one of those situations. This is one of those stories where Keith Lee's injury has become very, very, very upsetting to watch because we don't really know his health issues. There's been a lot of rumors that it's been very serious. And then, of course, he's been taken off TV. And then, of course, people also add, well, hey, he's been taken off TV. He says he's doing well. Is Tony Khan not booking him for a specific reason, whatever it may be? I don't like to speculate on that, and I don't like to speculate on people's health. On a personal level, I think it's really important for me to just put it out there. Keith Lee is a hell of a talent. The fact that he says in this tweet, only time will tell when or where, but I am confident that time will come. It's a good sign that he is aware that he will be returning at some point. Now the question becomes, does he do it in AEW? Does he do it in WWE? Does he do it in the Indies? Like, what is the situation there? And And I just think it's one of those things where deep down inside, my heart truly tells me that Keith Lee, if cleared, will do great things. I want to see this guy wrestle. I think he's an awesome wrestler. I want to see this guy on TV. I think he does great stuff. People forget, if you watch my video, when he debuted, I thought it was absolutely dumb that he was in a tag team with Swerve Strickland to begin with things. Because I just immediately thought, oh my God, Triple H's WWE with Keith Lee in NXT was so sick. And then Keith Lee becomes Bearcat on WWE Raw, and Vince McMahon completely dropped the ball. Tony Khan's going to make this guy a world champion, because that's the kind of belief that I have with him. And as you guys could tell over time, Tony Khan didn't do much with him. Vince McMahon couldn't do much with him. The only person that really booked him effectively was Triple H in NXT. So for me, I'm a huge fan of Keith Lee. I'm glad to hear that he's doing well health-wise, and I'm glad to see that he will be returning. Now the question becomes when and where. And that brings us to our final topic, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe you watched it, maybe you didn't. But Kelly Kelly was on TNA. She was part of the Border Brawl, which was the Zonify event that TNA did. Nick Nemeth was talking about it, and he actually says that he has been pitching for Kelly Kelly to come in. He offered a lot of praise for Kelly Kelly. We saw her come in, obviously, with Santino Marella. And now, not only that, but Nick Nemeth literally says that he's actually been texting her, trying to seal the deal of her coming back to TNA. There is this belief that TNA is interested in bringing her in. Some people think it could happen as like an authority figure, a manager, or whatever. It doesn't necessarily mean that she would be wrestling. There is a possibility she could be coming in for some sort of TNA run. I'm just going to throw this out there, because I think in this particular situation, Kelly Kelly's awesome. We don't see her active in wrestling. She's obviously busy doing other things, but the idea of her signing to TNA could be kind of fun. And because of WWE and TNA having this deal, you never know. Maybe that means we also see her on WWE programming. Who really knows? But that's the beauty of this partnership between WWE and TNA. And this is the beauty of TNA. You know, you bring in Kelly Kelly for a couple more appearances, maybe a couple TV tapings, you have a fun little storyline, and then you don't have to have this long-term commitment. For somebody like Kelly Kelly, who isn't an active competitor, it is quite nice to see that's an option, because then she doesn't actually have to tie down to the company long-term. So for me personally, I'm just going to throw this out there. Kelly Kelly is awesome. Probably should be on TV in some capacity. Kind of shocking to me that WWE hasn't figured out a way to bring her on TV, but hopefully one day they do get it figured out. And personally speaking, I just want to throw this out there as well. Evolution 2 is coming back. Never know, maybe that's an opportunity. But for Kelly Kelly to come to TNA, be part of it for a small little appearance was awesome. Now the fact that this could lead to something more is even more awesome. If you guys like more videos like this, go ahead and click that subscribe button. I'll see you next time.